Hello YouTube, Jumpman here. Today we're doing Cicada from HackTheBox, which is an easy-rated Windows machine which emphasizes in SMB, LDAP, and credential discovery. We basically start doing a anonymous SMB authentication on Nmap, which grants access to a share containing a file with default credentials. With RID brute forcing, we enumerate usernames and eventually find valid credentials for one of the accounts. Once we authenticate, an LDAP domain dump reviews additional credentials that are stored in LDAP descriptions. This leads us to another SMB share which contains a backup PowerShell script with, upon inspection, we get another credential, and this one is for a backup operator. For the privilege escalation, we simply create a backup of the SEM and the system hives, where we basically will dump the SEM hive and retrieve NTLM hashes, and then using pass the hash to escalate ourselves to administrator access. This was a really cool machine, and I would honestly suggest this one to practice some Active Directory skills. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first step that we must do is perform an nmap scan. So let's do nmap-sc to use default scripts of nmap-sv to enumerate versions of the found ports. Then we're gonna do -vv. This is going to give us a double verbosity. So while the scan is running, we're going to get back results from nmap like, oh, port 80 is open, for example, and so on. Then I will do -p-. This is going to scan all the possible 65,535 ports. Then I will add a different flag here. I'm going to call it ~mean rate. And I'll put up to 10,000. And basically what this does is basically going to tell Nmap to send 10,000 packets per second. So it's basically just making a really fast scan, so we don't have to wait too much. Then I will output all of this in Nmap, put it in the Nmap directory, put it in the file called TCP. Then I'm going to put in the IP of the box, which is 10.129.145.213. I have already ran this, and it can take some time to run, even though we added them in rate. I can just do a less in this and then nmap TCP, and we have a few ports open. We have port 53, which is simple DNS plus. We also have 88, which is Microsoft Windows Kerberos. And judging by those ports, we can already say that this is an Active Directory machine. We can also see that the domain is cicada.htv, and we can also see that the DC name is Cicada DC. And we can just simply do what we can do with this information basically is put this in our etc host file. So let's do that. So sudo vi etc hosts. Then I'm going to add the IP 10.129.145.213. And then I'm going to call this cicada.htb. And then I'm also going to add the DC name. So cicada DC cicada.htb. Then I'm going to save and quit. And let's just keep on scrolling down. We see LDAP is also open. I believe there's no... Also see SMB open. So that's good. That's first port that usually when it comes to Active Directory, right? Like what I like to enumerate first always is SMB. So that's the port we're going to start enumerating today, right? So let's see what else we have. More LDAP ports and then more LDAP. Let's see. And then we also have 5,985, which is WinRM over HTTP. So yep, that's pretty much it for this box. Those are the open ports. Alright, so let's just get started, right? Let's start enumerating, and we're gonna basically use netexec. No secrets here. Basically what I like to do first is just run netexec smb and then give in the port. So 10.129, I already forgot the port, I'm just gonna paste this. So 10.129.145.213. I like to run it like this so I can get some information of like the operating system running and if we are using SMBv1 or if signing is enabled. And we see that the architecture is x64. This is on Windows Server 2022. We also see the name of the DC here. This is just also another way to find the name of the DC and also the domain instead of just running Nmap. But since Nmap is the first step that we are going to do for the information gathering, so usually it relies on Nmap, right? To identifying the domain and also the name of the domain controller. So signing is enabled and also SMBv1 is equals to false. So nothing really much here that we can do. Basically, it's just some basic information. Now let's just try to identify if we can. Let's just check if we can perform a null authentication. What I like to do is just do like a non-existent user and then a blank password. I just put a dot there. So I'm just gonna run this and it's basically gonna tell us that we can authenticate and as the user guessed. So I believe if we just do guest like this without a password, I believe we can just authenticate into it. And yes, we can. So guest is enabled in this machine, which is odd. Usually this account is disabled. For security issues, of course. I guess my internet is kind of stuck here. Alright, I'm just going to see that. But, well, we can do anonymous authentication. Basically, it's just like authenticate to SMB as guest. So, since we can do that, let's check shares. That's also what I like to do. So, SMB, then I just give in the user and then check for shares and see if we can read anything, right? So just gonna wait a little bit. It's going to do all the authentication and stuff like that. It can take a little bit of time. All right, cool. Now we see a few shares open. We see the admin one, but we cannot really read this. Neither the C share. And we have two uncommon shares here. All of those, like MN and C, IPC, NetLogon, sysvol, they're all default shares. The only non-default shares that we have here is the dev and HR. So we have read permissions in HR. We don't have write permissions, just read. So basically what this means is that we can access this share and check for contents inside. So usually what I like to do is run a module from netexec called Spider Plus, and this is going to basically crawl on the shares that we have permission to read, and it's going to return a JSON. So basically it's going to return us the files present in the shares, right? So of course this is probably going to take some time as well. So I'm just going to speed up the video a little bit. And there you go. Actually, it was pretty fast. So the share file, so the file is saved in a temporary directory. So I'm just going to copy this and do like a cat. And then, do I have JQ in this machine? I don't have JQ. Maybe I do have Go JQ. And there we go. I do have Go JQ. Basically it's just JQ, but I guess written in Go. So what we have here is we have a notice from hr.txt, and this is super interesting. So what I'm gonna do to retrieve this file is I'm gonna use npacket smb client, and then I'm going to I can just run this like without any arguments, and it's going to give me the help. So we see that all we have to add is the target with the domain, the username, and then I guess password. Let's see. I guess we could just do like no password, right? Yes, I think that's what we should do. Let's see. I think we could just like write guest. Let's see. So cicada.htb Then we can do guest. Oh, I cannot type. And then I can just do like the IP, which is there. I lost it. Never mind, it's here. 10.129.145.213. That's, I gotta memorize this instead of just copy and pasting it. All right, so then I'm just gonna pass in the no pass and pray that this works, and I believe it will. Nice, cool. So we can just we can just type help to get a list of commands. So I'm gonna do that. We can, let's see, we can list shares. We can also do like login with nt-hash, the lm hash, like ntlm hash, really, basically. We can just do pass the hash login in these SMB through the unpacked client, but really that's not what we want. Basically, we can just, let's just list the shares. So just type in shares. And we want to use the ajar because this is the share that we have read permissions. So I just type use and then type the name of the share. So ajar. Oh, I typed user instead of use. There you go. So I can just do like an ls, and we can see that that's basically what we only have. So I'm going to do an mget and just download the txt file. Nice. So I'm just gonna exit, and I'm just gonna do an ls, and we can see that we have the txt here. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna actually cat this, and let's just see what we have inside it. Oh, I didn't even copy it right. 1 second. So I'm just gonna copy this, and boom, we already have a default password here, but we don't have a user. So that's a little bit odd, right? Usually, I mean, not really odd, I guess. It's just like we don't have the user. We just have a password. So then it's basically a message for new hires, and we have like this default password here. It's just like talking about security protocols, and we have to change the default password. This basically indicates that we can potentially find users who don't have a default, that didn't change the default password, and they can probably still have the default password. So that is a great step. So I'm gonna open Sublime. No, I'm just gonna put this like in v passwords. Store it there. Save it and quit. So I just basically copy this and put it in v in a text file. All right. So now let's just try to get users, right? One way to enumerate this, since we have guest authentication in SMB, we can simply do an RID brute force, and that's exactly what I want to do. So RID brute, it's basically going to, I think we can just do like -- users, right? I think that's an option in that exec. And we can just get a list of valid users, and let's see if it works. If not, we just go to RID brute. Yes, it didn't work. All right, so let's just do RID brute. So it's gonna brute force through the RID. This is gonna use the Windows RPC, I believe, and it's going to basically brute force like through like RIDs, and this is going to bring us a lot of information. So it's gonna bring like groups. It's also gonna bring users, because that's exactly what we want, right? So I'm just gonna do that, and it's just gonna take a little bit of time, I believe. And there we go. We have SID type group, and we have user, and we do have more groups and also users, right? All right, so now that this is done, we can see that we have the following users. We have John, we have Sarah, Michael, David, and Emily. We also have administrator accounts. Those are default accounts, especially in an Active Directory environment. I mean, administrator and guest, we can find it in Windows machines, really. But KRB TGT is a special one for Active Directory, right? So basically what I should have probably done is is just get all this output into a file. So what I like to do is just get that into like users. RAD results.txt, because we're going to filter it and we're just going to get the users, right? We're not going to get like the groups. We're not interested in that. Only the users. So just going to wait a little bit until we have it. All right, there you go. So if we do an ls and RID, we have the file here. If we cat it, we basically can see that it's just the output of netexec, right? Nothing different than we've seen previously. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grep for I'm gonna use grep-i. This is going to ignore it's gonna be case insensitive. So I'm gonna do SAD type user, and it's only going to return the users, and that's good. We already filtered out the groups, but it's in a format that we honestly don't want. And to basically just like we want to just get this part only, right? So I'm going to pipe this again to cut. So I'm going to use the delimiter is going to be a column, and then I'm going to get the second field, and that's basically better. But we only want the usernames, right? So again, I'm gonna use cut. I know there's definitely a better way to do this. Actually, let's just use awk. Let's see. I think it's print. Print 2 like this. Oh. Okay. Oh yes, so that's like that. It's like that, right? Nice. So we made it even better. Again, I'm just gonna use cut and then give in the delimiter as a backslash and then the second field. And there you go. Finally, we got a list of valid users. So I'm going to pipe this. I'm going to put all of this into user lists.txt. That's good. All right, nice. Now I'm just going to go back to SMB, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a password spray. So I'm going to put in here, let me just get the password. And I'm going to put that in here. And in the user camp, I'm going to, in the user option here, I'm going to give user list.txt. We're going to basically pass in the txt of the user files that we had. And then I will change this last option here and do continue on success. And basically what we're doing is we're doing a password spray on a list of users. So we're gonna basically instead of like, usually we can just like do like a username and then give a list of passwords. This is basically going to be the reverse of it. So instead of giving a list of passwords, we're just going to give a list of usernames. And we are going to give a password, a single password, and check if one of those users have this default password still from Cicada, right? And this last option here is going to continue when we find a valid credential. So a valid authentication, sorry. So I'm just going to, actually before I do that, I want to use the netexec database. So nxcdb. If you don't know what this is, basically it's a database that netexec has it integrated with, and whenever we find valid credentials, we can retrieve them because they are stored in the database. They have the default database, which is like the workstation actually. So there's like different databases for different services that NetExec has support for. So like FTP, WinRM, SMB. There's also RDP. So we can basically navigate through the valid credentials that we have, right? But in this case, I'm just going to create a new workspace. So workspace, I think it's new. That's how it is. List. I need to actually check the help. Let's see. Help workspace. That's how you type it. Oh, okay. So basically, we could do workspace create. Honestly, let me workspace list. Okay, I didn't do anything. Okay. Workspace create, and let's create a new workspace called Cicada.htb. Nice. So whenever we create a workspace, it's going to initialize the FTP protocol database, and like I said, all the protocols that NetExec supports. So honestly, I think that's it. So we're already using this new workspace, and we can type help. We can do help proto, because proto basically switches to the protocol that we want to check for credentials or like anything else, right? So we can just type proto SMB, and now we are in the SMB database. So I can type help, and we can just see like creds. We can like import and basically just like check for shares as well and all that stuff. If I type like shares, we see there's nothing because I guess we haven't been using it, but I guess now that we're using, maybe it's going to work. So I'm just gonna run this and see if it actually updates the database. Hopefully it does. So now we're doing a password spray. We got a hit on Michael Rigson. That's how you say it? I don't know how you pronounce that, but I guess we got a user that didn't change the default password, and it's Michael. So that's great. Now let me check creds, and we do have his credentials saved here, right? So that's amazing, because usually I just get like a txt and like save the valid users that I find, but this is super useful, right? We can just like have it saved in the database, and if we just like need to use some sort of credential, we can just like simply just extract it from here. So yeah, cool. All right, so now we have a valid user. That's great. What I like to do whenever I have a valid user is to simply do an LDAP domain dump. Okay, so what an LDAP domain dump does is basically going to it's going to dump every single object present in LDAP, and it's basically going to allow us to, like, you know, it's just going to give us information. Basically, that's what it is. Of like all these objects, like what groups they're from when it comes to like user or computer accounts, for example. We can also see the computers and the groups and everything, right? So if I just run LDAP domain dump like this, then it's going to give me options. So let's do -h, and here we have like the username and password, and we can also do like no HTML, no JSON, no grep, and then we can also do like the output directory. So usually whenever I use this, I like the HTML one because it's easier to use, and we can just like view it in the browser. It's really easier and simple instead of just like using grep or JSON, for example. I don't know. I just want to make things easier, right? So I mean, either way, it's you guys' choices if you guys want to use JSON or grep, right? So I'm just gonna give in the username together with the domain. So let's do cicada.htb / and then I'm gonna get the username. So Michael, and then I'm gonna get the password, which is the default one. I'm going to output this to LDAP domain dump like this. So this is going to create a directory called LDAP domain dump for us, because we don't have this created. So it's going to basically create for us, and then I'm going to do no grep, no JSON, and now I can pass in the, I believe we are missing something, right? I guess it's the host name. I guess we can just put the IP, right? So it's 10.129. Help me in this. Fuck. There you go. 129.145.213. 145.213. And now I could just run this. It's going to connect to the host, bind to the host, and it's going to start the domain dump. And there we go. The domain dump is finished. Now, if I go to the LDAP domain dump directory and do an ls, we can see that we have the HTML stuff. So then I just do like a Python HTTP server. I can run on a port 80, and now it's just running on all ports, right? All right, so let me go back here. I'm going to open Firefox, and I'm going to basically check for the web server, and then we have a list of all the HTML stuff. So we can check the group, the domain computers. We just have the DC, trusted for delegation, sends a server trust account, whatever. We do have domain grouped domain computers by the OS. I guess it gives us basically the same thing. Yeah. We can check domain groups. We see that we have dev support. This is a group that is members of backup operators. This is interesting. We have some default groups, like as we also have seen in the RD brute force, DNS admins, update proxy, enterprise key admins, and whatever. We have, I guess that's basically it. And then everything else is just default, right? So cool, interesting that we have this dev support and is a member of the backup operators, right? Let's check the users and user by group, right? Actually, I guess I should do that. Nice. Oh, cool. So we already have some information here. We have David Aurelius password, and is this one right here, just in case I forget my password. And he added this in the LDAP description. That's funny. So we have another user here, David Aurelius, and he is in the domain user. I guess that's it. Nice, cool. We have another user. Nice. Oh, of course, one thing that I forgot. I guess I'm just going to stop this because we already got a user, so I guess we don't really need to check anything else. But let me just go back, and I'll just do netazak smb and 10.129.145.213. All right, nice. This time I memorized it. Cool. Dash u. Let's do Michael Rickson, and let's check if he has some different permissions, right, to read shares, because it's also important to check that. So if it's the same thing as we've seen previously, then I guess we can't do much with this user. So either way, I'm just gonna check the shares and see if we can read something else, like data, other uncommon share. Nope, you can only read the HR. All right. Okay, so let's try to authenticate with that user. So let's do David Aurelius. I think that's it. Let's go back here. Yes, Aurelius. Did I type it right? I forgot to know. And now I'm just gonna put in the password. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it in here, and let's check if it's valid. And again, whenever we find valid credentials, there we go. So it's valid, it works. if we go into the DB and type creds in again on the SMB portal, we have it saved here. So this is super practical, it's super useful, and instead of just like writing on like different, like a notepad or something, like the passwords that I found, it's just it can just be stored here in the DB itself, right? Okay, so checking David Aurelius, we can see that we have read permission in dev, and we're just gonna do the same process here. I'm just gonna run spider plus and check. Honestly, I don't think we need this. I don't think we should. I'm gonna just go straight into SMB client. So let's do that. Let's go in packet SMB client, because usually EasyBox and EasyBoxes, they're just like pretty much straightforward, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and read this dev share and not just go through all the other ones like netlogon or sysfile or whatever. I'm not gonna read any of those. So all right, so let's just go ahead and give in the IP now. 10.129.145.2.1.3, and let's use the dev share, and let's just type ls, see what we have inside, and we have a backup script. This is awesome. So I'm just gonna do an mget get everything. It's gonna download this PowerShell script, and cool, nice. We have this backup script here with us. So let's do ls delay. We have backup script. Let's open it up and see what we find. And we have another plain text credential for Emily Oscars. And this is doing a backup and saving, I believe. I guess this is saving the SMB files. And this is I think this is executing probably in the machine, I'm not sure, but we cannot do anything with this. Basically, this is just we only have read permissions in this. We cannot like overwrite this and just like execute a shell. And honestly, that's because we already have a plain text credential for Emily. And if we go back here, I think Emily Oscars is a backup operator. That's really good. I guess this is pretty much straightforward from this box. We just do a privilege escalation for this backup operators, and I'm gonna go through this in a bit. And we are remote management users, so we can just simply log in with WinRM and get a shell. So there's really no need for this, right? So what I'm gonna do is just copy this, and I'm going to quit. And let's just go to netexec SMB. Actually, let's do, yeah, SMB, sure. 10.129.145.2.1.3. Then it's Emily Oscars, and then the password, which is not that, wrong clipboard. You know what? I guess I didn't even copy for them. Yeah, kind of embarrassing. I don't know how to copy them. Because I know there's a way. It's just like yank or something like that. But I guess I didn't use that. I tried to just like Ctrl-Shift-C. Let me just get this or like this, right? All right, cool. And now let's just see if this is a valid credential. And it's gonna take some time, and it's gonna tell us that it is. So cool. We can log in as Emily Oscars. So we can now get a shell. So we'll just do evil WinRM. Since we have WinRM port open over HTTP in the machine, we can log in through that easily. So then we just do -i. This is going to give the IP of the machine. So 10.129.145.2.1.3. Then the user Emily Oscars. I guess that's it. And then the password. Now it's just gonna take a little bit of time. And cool. Now we're logged in. If we do a dir in documents, nothing in here. Let's just go back and cd into desktop. Oops, I typed desktop wrong. And we have the user flag here. Nice. Okay, so for now the privilege escalation, I'm gonna go back to documents, because since we are a backup operator, basically what a backup operator is a default security group in Active Directory. And a backup operator is basically a group that can save files and I believe directories in the Windows system without being an administrator. So for example, this user that we have right here can save any file in the system and create a backup out of it. So you might be thinking, well, what can we do with this, right? One interesting thing that we can do is copy the SAM and system hives. And basically what the SAM is the security account manager database. And that's where we find credentials for users in this in the machine, right? And the system one is basically where we have the boot key. And the boot key is used to encrypt the SAM database. And we need that to decrypt the SAM database so we can read the content inside. So that's basically what we're going to do. And it's pretty simple. I'm just going to Google it really quick, the commands, but I think it's reg. Let's see, backup operators. We just search for privilege escalation. Go into Google. We can already see a lot of things here, like domain, privilege escalation. Let's see. I guess I'm just gonna go with this one. And I hope it shows the method that I am trying to do, which is the registry save. Nice. And basically we can just save the SAM hive and systems hive, like I said, and put in the documents. So let's just go back to our shell and just type reg save and then hklm, and then we do \sem and then save it to the current directory. It's gonna take some time. Just wait a little bit. Hopefully this works. If not, we just paste in the full path. Okay, so actually it was my bad. I forgot to give the name of the file that I wanted to save as. So I'm just gonna do reg save and then hklm sem and then just name it sem. And now it should work. Nice, the operation completed successfully. I guess I didn't give the name, I just passed in like the directory. That's not how it worked. I had to give the name. So I'm just gonna also save the hklm and then system and call this system. And now we have the SAM database and the system. Now if I do ls, and we can see here that we have SAM and system. Cool. So in Evil1RM, I can simply transfer these files by saying download. And then I can just do :/sem. This is going to download the SAM file and the system file to our computer. Oh, download fail. I guess I have to pass in the full path. SAM. There you go. Now it should work. They're just downloading this. Oh. Oddly enough, it's not. What if we just do download SAM like this? Oh. Oh, I just realized. basically it's already appending the current path. Okay, nice. All right, so we downloaded it. Now let's download system as well. There you go. Now we finally downloaded the system hive. Now what I'm gonna do is go to my other shell panel here, and we can see that we have the SAM and system. To obtain and extract the NTLM hashes from the SAM database, we use npacket secrets dump, and I'm just gonna do a dash help here to see the commands. And let's see, and then we can just pass in the SAM and security hive to parse it. So I'm just gonna do dash SAM and then SAM and then system. Now I'm just gonna run this. Oh, the target is required for some reason. So let's see. I guess we just like, isn't there like an option to, let's see. I believe there is an option to like not use a target. I don't know. Let's see. Dash H. Let's just do dash H. See. Let's see. System. Oh, we just type local. Okay. So local. Since we're not gonna connect to anything, right? We're gonna do everything locally. And there you have it. Now we have the administrator hash. And let's just check and see if this works. So 10, 1 to 9, 145, 213. So I'm gonna give the IP of the box. And then I'll do dash capital H to do a pass the hash. And let's see if this works. And it does. We got administrator access in the machine. We can test this with WinRM. And it's also going to take a little bit of time to see if it works. And it does. Cool. Now we can just get a shell as administrator. Then capital H to pass the hash. And that's it. That's how you get system in Cicada. Desktop. And there we have the root txt file. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this walkthrough. Had some little issues running some commands, but I guess that's fine. It's part of it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like. Check my previous video as well if you guys want. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to start to be more active in this channel. It's been some time since I uploaded my last walkthrough video, but I pretend to post more walkthroughs in HackTheBox machines and possibly in challenges as well in the future of, you know, of course, retired content. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it and peace out. See you guys in the next video.